Hello everyone, this is Grace. It is October the 29th, 2023, and we are going to be looking at the Nazarite Vow in this video. So let's go ahead and get started. So let me start off by saying, I didn't put any scriptures in here for this, but the Nazarite Vow is different than in the New Testament, the Nazarene. The Nazarite, this word means to separate. It's a Hebrew word that means to separate. The Nazarene is what the Jews were called before they were called Christians, because I guess because Jesus was from Nazareth, but that's what the Jews were called. Well, it says Paul was the leader, so it may have been not the Jews, but the Gentile portion. I'm not sure. I didn't look into it too much. But it says Paul was like the leader of the Nazarites, of the Nazarene. Nazareth. I can't remember the name, but it's different in the New Testament than it is in the Old Testament. This word means to separate, as I mentioned before. So let's go ahead and get started. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When either man or woman shall separate themselves to vow a vow for a Nazarite, to separate themselves unto the Lord, he shall separate himself from wine and strong drink, and shall drink no vinegar of wine or vinegar of strong drink, neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes, nor eat moist grapes, or dried. All the days of his separation he shall eat nothing that is made of the vine tree, from the kernels even to the husk. All the days of the vow of his separation, there shall no razor come upon his head until the days be fulfilled in the which he separated himself unto the Lord. He shall be holy, and shall let the locks of his hair shall let the locks of the hair of his head grow. All the days that he separated himself unto the Lord, he shall come at no dead body. He shall not make himself unclean for his father, or for his mother, or for his brother, or for his sister, when he die, because the consecration of his God is upon his head. All the days of his separation he is holy unto the Lord. And if any man die very suddenly by him, and he have defiled the head of his consecration, then he shall shave his head in the day of his cleaning. On the 7th day he shall shave it, and on the 8th day he shall bring 2 turtles or 2 young pigeons to the priest, to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And the priest shall offer the one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering. There is no such thing as a sin offering. And make an atonement for him, for that he sinned by the dead, and shall hallow his head the same day. And he shall consecrate. Hold on. Let's see how much more we got. Okay, you know what? Let's just stop there, because this is a big chunk of of instructions. Okay, let's start over, and we'll go piece by piece. Speaking to the children of Israel, and say unto them, When either man or woman shall separate themselves to vow a vow of a Nazarite, to separate themselves unto the Lord. They twist these words. This is no different than what was done in the water of separation. Yeah, that's what this is. This is a vow of separation. And it's very vague, and it's very strangely written. It's written to where if you actually do a careful reading of it, you would not need me. You'll be able to see all of the very odd errors without even a very close investigation. But let's look at this in Scriptures for All. I don't know what I clicked on, but let's go, because I had it on Numbers 6:1. So let's go back there, and let's take a look at verse 2. Speaking to the children of Israel, speak ye to the sons of Israel, and say unto them, and you say to them, when either man or woman that is making marvelous shall separate themselves. So this word separate here means to make marvelous. 6381. Man or woman shall make marvelous. So they want to become marvelous. To vow a vow, to vow of a vow of the Nazarites. So to be a part of the Nazarites, right? Oops, hold on. To vow a vow of a Nazarite. To this word sequester is to separate himself upon Yahweh. That's what it says. To separate themselves not to the Lord, but to the Lord. They're separating themselves from the Lord. And when you see the other times that this is written, the of is going to be missing. It's just a simple play of words, and it's really not hard to see. I mean, if you're not tricking yourself, it just isn't difficult to see at all. This right here is a little bit difficult to see, because you want it. I mean, you automatically want to believe what it says, right? I mean, it's in the Bible. You want to believe it's not of the Lord, but to the Lord. But that's what they're doing. They're making a vow to separate themselves from God. And you're going to see that. Hold on. Let's read on. He shall separate himself from wine. Hold on. Let's look at this word. I don't remember what I'm going to find here. From wine. Okay, so they put the word from here. From wine and intoxicant. He shall sequester himself. You guys, let me say this real quick. This is about wine, the definition. I'm rethinking my understanding of the definition of wine. I originally thought there was two words, but I keep seeing this "an intoxicant," and I'm just thinking to myself, maybe there weren't two words. Maybe that definition that they put in under wine was the definition for intoxicant. In which case, it may be that a small amount is allowed. I'm not going to go too much into it because I need to really think about it. If there wasn't a second word, and that word is for intoxicant, well, everyone knows that an intoxicant is going to make you intoxicated. That's literally what it's called. It's called an intoxicant. So the definition may have come from this word, from wine with intoxicant. And they just plugged that in there instead. And all of the other times that it's interpreted as wine and it means alcohol, they literally went in there and just took this word out for all of those instances in order to confuse us. I'm rethinking that. I haven't investigated it yet. I have to look into it a little bit more, but there may be a correction video coming out for that. There may be. It's providing me with a different understanding about a lot of different things. But just look for that. But anyway, from wine with intoxicant, he shall separate himself. There's no of, you see, but it has the from here, so that's why I couldn't make an exact match here. I remember that. Vinegar of wine and vinegar of intoxicant, but not he shall drink, and any of the liquid of grapes, not he shall drink. We don't need all of that. Let's go back. We just wanted to look at the word separate. And I noticed that they used different words for separate too, but that didn't really change a whole lot. This word doesn't really mean separate. This word, by the way, see, hold on, because the word consecrate is somewhere in here. And there was some sort of 5144. Okay. No, they just used the word separate and they would put consecrate. They could have put consecrate and put the actual word consecrate here. But instead, because it doesn't mean to consecrate yourself to God, it means to separate yourself from God. Anyway, let's continue on. He shall separate himself from wine and strong drink, and shall drink no vinegar of wine. This is no vinegar with, hold on, from wine with strong drink, and shall drink no vinegar of wine or vinegar of strong drink, neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes, nor eat moist grapes or dried. This is just a ruse. This is just something. They don't care really anything about these grapes other than that they come from the vine tree. We'll read the next verse. All the days of his separation he shall eat nothing that is made of the vine tree, from the kernels even unto the husk. Jesus, throughout the Bible, says he is the vine. He is the vine. So, and it's given that he is the grapevine, basically. So this is why, in order to separate yourself from God, you symbolically separate yourself from that vine. All of this is just kind of a ruse. You don't want to eat any wine because it comes from the grape. Nothing of the grape tree, nothing of the strong, nothing of the no vinegar, no grapes, no raisins, nothing that comes from the vine tree. It's all symbolic. All the days of the vow of his separation, there shall be no razor come upon his head until the days be fulfilled. Now I want you to remember this, because when we look at the examples, what you're going to see is you're going to see people constantly shaving their head. And it's going to, especially in the New Testament, well, I can't remember, but I know Paul, twice it says Paul shaved his head in order to take the vow. But it says that no razor is supposed to come upon his head. Now, if it was so important for his hair to grow and then be shaved, why are they up here? Why is the very first thing the grapes? And we haven't even read through the entire thing yet. There is no vow. When you make a vow, you make a vow. There is no vow. They're never going to say anything about a vow in here. You just separate yourself. And the most important thing that you separate yourself from is the fruit, the vine tree and its fruit. The hair is secondary. It's not even mentioned until verse 5 here. All the days of the vow of his separation, there shall no razor come upon the head until the days of his fulfillment, in which he separateth himself unto the Lord. So he cannot shave his head. It's saying very clearly, do not shave your head until you are finished separating yourself unto the Lord. Another thing I want to point out is that it never, you guys don't know this because I didn't read through all of it, but it's never going to give you a time frame. It is never going to tell you how long you need to separate yourself. Literally, Paul is going to do it a couple of hours. He's going to talk about it one day, and the next day he's going to be there in the temple. Hold on, that's not right. I think he was taking someone else to the temple. I'm not really sure. Anyway, let's continue on. We'll see when we get there. He shall be holy, and shall let the locks of the hair of his head grow. So, hold on. All the days of the vow of his separation, there shall no razor come upon his head until the days be fulfilled, in which he separated himself unto the Lord. He shall be holy. This is a threat here. I thought this came much later, but it is. It's down here as well. This is a threat. They're telling him all the days of the vow, he's still holy. The Bible continuously said, I am holy, so you be holy. It's telling you he is not going to be unholy until He's finished. I noticed it down here. I didn't notice it up here before. And he shall let the locks of his hair, of the hair of his head grow. All the days that he separateth himself unto the Lord, he shall come and no dead body. Let's look this up because I've got it highlighted. This was, I think, a little bit hard to see for me. This one was. Number 66. All the days that he separateth himself, all of the days of to be sequestered of him, there's no from here. All the days to be separating himself unto the Lord, upon soul. I remember I had a big problem with this. Because upon soul being dead, he shall come at no dead body. Upon soul being dead, he shall not come. Okay, so we want to look at first I want to point out, which I forgot to point out before. Oh no. Come on. Okay. Okay, it's wrong on here. It's to Yahweh 3068 here. And then it is to Yahweh 3069 up here where he's denying him, right? Okay, so let's look at the definition for those two words. So we have 3068. We're just getting started too. Okay, let's just hope it's lined up properly. Okay, so Jehovah equals the existing one, the proper name of the one true God. From, hold on, is this the right one? It is. Okay. Compare. Okay, well, let's look at 3069. That's not it. Get 3069. Okay, so 3069, which was the first one. Okay, hold on. Jehovah, used primarily in the combination Lord Jehovah, equal to 3068, but pointed with the vowel of 430. A variation of H3068, used after H136 and pronounced by the Jews as H430 in order to prevent the repetition of the same sound. So let's look up this one first. My Lord, and then it doesn't give us the 40. H430. Oh, it's supposed to be, it's used after. So let's see what, we should look this one up first. A ruler, a judge, Elohim. This is a small god or goddess. And then, I don't know, this thing was so long, I don't remember. But my point of doing this is that they're naming two different gods here. This one, they're denying. This one, they're acknowledging. All the days that he separate himself unto the Lord, he shall come at no dead body. See, this is their thing right here. This was just made up, this whole dead body thing. It was just all made up. So this is why they're honoring this. They want you to really separate yourself here because you are separating yourself from the vine. This is their lie, that you're not supposed to be near a dead body or you're unclean. So you got to stand by that one. And that's why it appears that they are actually separating themselves unto the Lord here, because they're talking about a different God. It's just tricky. This one was a little bit difficult for me to see because I kept saying, wait a second. It says up here that they're separating themselves from God. Up here it says they're separating themselves unto another God. That's what it's saying. He shall not make himself unclean for his father, or for his mother, for his brother, or for his sisters, or for his sister when they die, because the consecration of his God is upon his head. His God, again, it's only one God. And then we have Jesus, the God of Israel. Jesus is not the God of all. Jesus is our God. He is the God of Israel, our Savior. And he's God because God says he is. Plain and simple. Satan in his own right, he's the God of this world. He's a master, but he's not our God. He's the God of the wicked. So let's not be playing. Let's not delude ourselves. His God, not the one true God. All the days of his separation, he is holy unto the Lord. This is a threat. If the Bible continually says, I am holy, so you be holy. I am holy, so you be holy. What else could this possibly mean? During the time of your separation, you are still attached to the Lord, to Jesus. You're still holy. You're still holy according to Jesus. You have to complete this oath here, or this vow, in order to be attached to Satan. It's a threat. I couldn't think of any other way to take it, so I can't remember what I went through, because literally it's just a threat. It's saying, no, you're not unholy yet. Aren't you supposed to be holy when you do this? Aren't you supposed to be isn't this supposed to be a sacred thing that's supposed to prove? Listen, that whole idea just blows my mind. It just blows my mind that men think that the Lord would ordain some sort of separation from man to somehow claim that he is holy to other people. We went through that with the Pharisees. Literally, Jesus was trying to warn his followers, the disciples, and the people that listened to him, not to judge men by what they said, and not to judge men based on some vain show of piety. And yet this is exactly what this was represented as, a show of piety. It was condemned throughout the New Testament by Jesus. And if any man die very suddenly, by him, hold on. I don't think we're going to get through this. Okay, let's just read. And if any man die very suddenly by him, and he hath defiled the head of his consecration, again, this is separation. It's not consecration. It's 51:45. It's 51:45 and 51:44 are the words that they use for separation. Hold on. Oh wait, consecrate. Okay, I got it wrong here. Hold on. So that's why I kept rethinking about consecration, because they could have so easily have used separation. They could have so easily have used consecration here. It's literally one number over. Consecration unto God. No, they use separation. All the days of his consecration, he is holy unto the Lord. And if any man die very suddenly by him, and he has defiled the head of his consecration. Let's look at that word again and read the definition. Consecration, crown, separation. No, it is separation. Okay. Okay. Nazariteship. Crown as a sign of consecration, Ernie. This definition is weird. Let's see what it says down here. Something set apart, that is abstractly dedication of a priest or Nazarite, hence concretely unshorn locks, also by implication a chaplet, especially of royalty, consecration, crown, hair separation. Okay. Let me look up consecration, because I'm not sure how you're going to get consecration and separation into the same definition. But it may be my limited vocabulary. Hold on. Consecration. The act of ceremony or of consecrating, the state of being consecrated. Consecrate. To devote to a solemn purpose. So your separation is consecrated. Okay. When a building, place, or object is consecrated, it is officially declared to be holy. Okay, that's right. It's just declared to be holy. It's separating for a holy purpose. That's what consecration is. When a person is consecrated, they are officially declared to be a bishop. Separating for a holy purpose. Okay. That does actually make sense. All the days of his separation or his consecration, he is holy unto the Lord. And if any man die very suddenly by him, and he hath defiled the head of his consecration, then he shall shave his head in the day of his cleaning. On the seventh day shall he save it. This right here, this comes from Leviticus 19. If someone dies by him suddenly, then the process in Leviticus 19 says that that it takes 7 days after applying the holy water to you in order for you to be cleansed. So it's using satanic lies in order to support another satanic lie. But I wanted to point out also here that you don't shave the head. So far, there's no mention of shaving the head unless you are defiled by a dead body. Okay? So you make the vow, you don't touch your hair. But here, you are defiled by a dead body, and then you shave your head. Let's mark this. And I think I have Leviticus 19 in here somewhere. Well, it's Numbers 19. Numbers 19. And he that toucheth the dead body of any man shall be unclean 7 days. Lies. This whole unclean thing, I read through those scriptures. I even put a little bit of a half of a study together that we might read together. And hold on, there's noise in the hallway. I may have to pause you guys suddenly. But it is, if you read through that, and we may read through it because it is utter nonsense. It is impossible. It is literally impossible for anyone to be clean, especially the laws for men. You have got to be kidding me. Well, both of them, because the laws for women extend through their menstruation. So for it's weird. It's so, it goes beyond weird. It goes beyond weird into just crazy dumb, something like that. I have to read it again, but it's one of those two things. It's beyond weird, the unclean clean thing that they've got in the Bible. It's impossible. Okay, I'm making too much of it because I don't know if we're going to read it, so let me stop. Anyway, let's read this. He touches the dead body of any man. He that touches the dead body of any man shall be unclean 7 days. Whosoever touches the dead body of any man that is dead, and purifieth not himself, defileth the tabernacle of the Lord. And that soul shall be cut off from Israel, because the water of separation was not sprinkled upon him. He shall be unclean. His uncleanness is yet upon him. I should have read this. He shall purify himself with it on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day he shall be clean. But if he purify not himself the 3rd day, then the 7th day he shall not be clean. So it takes 7 days to clean yourself with this so-called water of purification, but basically it's the water of sin. And I mean, that's what it says. And this is what they pulled from, because this is their lie too, as a support scripture for their Nazarite vow. But let's continue on. And on the 8th day he shall bring 2 turtles or 2 young pigeons. This is another thing that I found that was common with their lies. I forgot to research it though. That they constantly have you bring 2 young pigeons. 2 young pigeons. You see the same thing, by the way, in Leviticus 14, where we did leprosy. I haven't told you guys this, but I figured out what the wood represents. And it undoes the entire spiritual picture. That there's lies in there as well. I haven't reread it. That's probably why I haven't mentioned it. But no, that's not true. No. If you go back and you look at what happened to Marion, they said that she had to stay outside the camp for 7 days. Now, you could take that one of 2 ways. Either 7 days was the incubation period for the leprosy to no longer be contagious. However, she was being punished, so you really can't say that for certain, because it may have been that she was kept outside the camp for 7 days as a punishment. It doesn't mention anything about God removing the leprosy from her. So it said, let her stay outside the camp for 7 days, and then she can be welcomed in with open arms. Nothing else was done. When Jesus goes through the temple cleansing the lepers, they're all right there within the city. There is an example, by the way, of lepers who were standing outside the city when they went and found the food from the camp. There was an abandoned camp, and they found food for everyone. And they were standing outside, and they said, look, we can stand out here, or we can go inside and die from the famine. Or so they decided to go to the people that were making war with Israel to see if they would take them in so they could not die and have food. Now, they all were lepers. Why would an enemy country take you in seeing that you had leprosy? Why? If it was so, if it was impossible for you to be clean and inside the camp. An enemy country is just going to take you in. Now, luckily, the enemy had fled. The Lord had worked a miracle, and the enemy had fled, and they went to an empty camp and got all the food, and Israel was saved. But my point is that this whole unclean, clean thing is just all made up. Let me rephrase that. It's not all made up. The unclean food and the unclean food is fine. And then there are places in the Bible where it says that, hold on, we might have to look at that. Maybe we'll look at it when we come to it. But it says basically it makes the people of Israel holy, and the other people, and it calls them clean. It doesn't really call the other people unclean, but it calls them unholy. So you kind of imply there's an implied uncleanness there. But it's implied. I couldn't find anything that said that the Gentiles were unclean. It wasn't new. It was just a misunderstanding in the New Testament. It was just a misunderstanding. There was nothing changed that I could find. I may have missed something. That wasn't my primary study, but I could find nothing. I could find nothing that substantiated that claim that the Gentiles were unclean, though it is implied. And then there is another scripture which was manufactured by the enemy and put in the Bible, which repeats that implication. So anyway, let's continue on. On the 8th day he shall bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons to the priest, to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. All these sacrifices, just lies. And the priest shall offer the one for a sin offering right here. How are you going to offer a sin offering because someone dropped dead beside you? And the other for a burnt offering. The reason why is because this is their thing. They love this in their deceptions. Yeah, stick that sin offering in there. And because this is theirs, they always put it over the burnt offering, which is our legitimate offering on behalf of the Lord Jesus. They just stick it right in there in front of it to give it. It's a symbolic thing for them to make it more important. But it's a lie. And the priest shall offer the one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering, and make an atonement for him, for that he sinned by the dead. Ridiculousness. And surely you can see that. And shall hallow his head that same day. Think we could stop there? No, we need this. And he shall consecrate unto the Lord the days of his separation, and shall bring a lamb of the first year for a trespass offering. But the days that were before shall be lost, because his separation was defiled. So we'll stop there, okay? And we will pick up at verse 13.